This kid got a summer job at a water park. Most employees spent their breaks sitting in the shade or eating a pretzel with cheese.
And milk!
Well, he spent his breaks in the wave pool because every single day people would lose stuff in this wave pool. Sunglasses, necklaces, earrings, wedding rings. People would search for a few minutes and then they would always give up and they would leave. So every single break he would throw on his goggles and he would get into this wave pool. And it's not easy to search the bottom of the wave pool, but this kid was a very talented swimmer and he could hold his breath for an incredibly long time. So he would spend his entire 30-minute break looking around the bottom of this pool. First day he found a gold chain, then somebody's wedding ring, then somebody's waterproof wallet with $50 in it. Now he had a decision to make. Should he take this stuff to the pawn shop to see what he can get for this gold necklaces and wedding rings? But he decided to bring it to the lost and found instead. And more people than not came back looking for their stuff, and they were always shocked that it was there, and they all had to thank this kid. It paid off eventually though, because one lady who had lost her incredibly valuable wedding ring came, and when she saw it, she was so relieved. She gave this kid $600. He was so grateful. He became a legend. He kept doing this every single day. It got to the point where his bosses let him take longer than usual breaks, because now he wasn't searching just the wave pool. He was in the lazy river, the deep end of the dive pool, everywhere, and everything he found, he brought back to the office. Hey, you gotta respect the hustle, and that's a respectful one. Every Saturday, this kid went to his little brother's baseball games. Come on, Franklin! And every Saturday, the same thing would happen. All the bleachers would be filled, and parents are arriving. They get to the lawn, and then they realize, "Aw, man, I forgot the chairs!" Now, the game's about to start, so they have two options. Stand there for the entirety of the game, or sit in the grass. Well, like I said, after watching this happen every weekend, this kid gets a brilliant idea. He goes on Facebook Marketplace and buys 10 folding chairs for almost nothing. Loads them into a little wagon, shows up to the field before the first game starts, and then he waits. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, "Dang it, I forgot the chairs at home." He walks over. "I got a couple you can use." The parents look relieved. "Oh, thank you so much." $5 a chair. Not to buy it, to rent it. For the game only. The parent doesn't even think about it. Yes, $5 a chair. You got yourself a deal. Now he's sitting comfy, watching his kids suck at baseball. Other people at the game realize this, see what's going on, and he rents out every chair. And this happens every weekend. He wrote numbers in the back of the chairs so he knows which ones he lent out. Eventually, he has 20 chairs. And then he expanded his business by bringing in snacks that he was selling for cheaper than the concession stand. The kid was a genius, and the parents had a place to sit. There was this kid whose locker was in the best spot of the school. It sat directly under one of the school's air conditioning vents. It's nice and chilly over here. Nobody paid attention to it, not really even him, until one day he throws a Gatorade on the top shelf of his locker. Comes back a couple hours later. Whoa, this is ice cold. And it's cold. So the next day he tries it again with a soda, a warm soda. He puts it in the morning, he checks it after lunch. Oh, that's a crispy soda. That's when he gets an idea. Instead of filling the top shelf of his locker with his own drinks, he starts renting shelf space. $1 to keep your drink in there until lunch. $2 if you wanted it till the end of the day, to have a cold drink for practice or something. People didn't believe him at first. "Dude, there's no way your locker is like a refrigerator." Until one dude tried it. He went to pick up his Dr. Pepper before lunch, and it was cold. No, guys, it actually worked. It was first come, first serve until the top shelf of the locker was rented out completely. And there was always someone who couldn't get a spot because it was booked up. Kids lined up before the first bell at his locker, holding milk, Gatorade. One kid said, "Will it freeze my ice cream?" He had it organized. He put sticky notes on with the person's name so he knows whose was whose. Teachers found out, but they were just amazed. Like, yo, what a smart kid. And what a strong air conditioning vent. And according to the students, that was the most valuable locker in the school. Yeah, I believe it. And guess what? You gotta respect the hustle. My bike chain broke. Call Bike Boy. This neighborhood had this one kid. Everybody called him when their bike broke. He could fix anything. Flat tire, if your chain fell off, the brakes were wonky, call him. "Hey, my brakes are wonky. I'm on 5th Street. You called the right guy." He showed up carrying this beat up old backpack. He drove a bike, and attached to the bike was this trailer thing that he would keep all his tools in, spare tires, chains. He had a bike pump. It was a mobile bike repair shop. He even made his own tiny business cards. Tyler's Bike Rescue and his phone number. The entire neighborhood kept them in their wallets because you never knew when you needed them. Even parents would put these business cards on their refrigerator. Business started getting bigger and bigger. Suddenly, he wasn't just fixing bikes. He would install new grips, swap the pedals out for something nicer, adjust seats, improve the seats. He was now a bike repair and customization service. Every afternoon, there'd be 2 or 3 bikes flipped upside down in this kid's driveway, and he'd be working on them. People were paying him pretty good. And by the end of summer, Tyler, this random middle school kid, became the neighborhood's official bike roadside assistant and customization. You gotta respect the hustle. This kid would fight with his sister every day about who got to use the TV remote. They only had one television, and whoever had the remote in their possession would control what everyone watched. One afternoon, this kid grabbed it and switched on his favorite show. But he turned off the show his sister had been watching. Hey, that's not fair! Yeah, it's fair enough. She climbed across the couch. She grabbed his wrist, and they started wrestling for the remote. The mom yelled from the kitchen, "If I have to come in there, nobody's watching TV for the rest of the week." They froze for about 3 seconds. Then they continued fighting. His sister finally snapped. She ripped the remote out of his hands and smacked him in the face. It didn't really hurt at first, but then it stung. He walked to the bathroom, looked at himself in the mirror, and that's when he saw it. Oh my God. There was a perfect rectangular mark on his face, and inside the rectangle, backwards but completely readable, it said, "Made in China." Oh God! Their mom took one look at it and knew exactly what happened. Both of the kids were grounded from TV for the rest of the week, but that mark remained on his face for a long time. He was walking around looking like he'd been manufactured overseas. It's insane. This teacher was brutal for this. If you misbehaved in class, didn't do your homework, or just got in trouble, you had to erase the whiteboard with your clothes. One afternoon, she calls on this kid to answer a question, but he wasn't listening. Billy! Oh, I'm sorry. What was the question? Oh, you weren't paying attention. Come up here, actually. I need you to erase this part of the board with your sleeve. Can I please not? You see, this kid was wearing a brand new white hoodie that he had got for his birthday from his parents. It was expensive, but she did not care. Now! The kid hesitated for a second, but then he went up there with his sleeve and... The right sleeve of that hoodie was dirty, ruined, was no longer pristine. He goes home, and that afternoon when he walks through his front door, his parents are like, "Yo, son, what happened to your sweatshirt?" So he tells the whole story. His dad didn't even finish listening. He grabbed his keys immediately, got into his car, and headed straight to the school. He brings his son with him. The principal is still in the office. "Hi, excuse me, my wife and I bought our son this brand new hoodie yesterday for his birthday. Look at his sleeve. The teacher made him do that." Apparently, the principal couldn't believe it. That's kind of sinister. So he said, "Don't worry, I'll handle this." As him and his dad were walking out of the office, he heard the principal, "Mrs. Johnson, please head to my office." And by the next morning, they noticed something. That teacher was on her best behavior, and she never made anybody erase the whiteboard with their clothes ever again. This kid got invited to his friend's house for the first time. As soon as they finished lunch, his friend yelled, "Hey mom, we're going outside." And then the mom walked over carrying 2 black ankle straps with a lock on them and a box attached to each. She buckled one around her son's ankle and then the other one around the visiting kid's ankle. The kid immediately asked, "What's this?" And the mom just pointed towards the backyard. You see, there was an invisible fence running along the entire edge of the property. "I don't want you boys to wander off." These ankle bands were connected to the same system that would keep the dog in the yard, an invisible fence. If they crossed the property line, it would start beeping, and if they went farther, it would zap them. His friend acted like it was completely normal. "Yeah, she just wants us to be safe." They played football in the backyard that day, but the ball was thrown too far and the visiting kid forgot about the bracelet. He stepped out of bounds, started beeping, and then, oh no, honestly, that's not okay. This family had no air conditioning and they owned one fan. There were 3 kids, 4 bedrooms, parents, and one for each kid. And every night, the fan would rotate rooms. Monday it was in one room, Tuesday the next room, Thursday the next room, and so on. After it rotated through all rooms, it would start over. And this was not negotiable. These are the rules, kids. Now imagine it's 100 degrees outside. You finally crawl into bed and then you remember, oh crap, it's not my night for the fan. You would lay there, sweating, listening to the fan going in your siblings' room. Sure, they complained, but they all dealt with it because that's just the way things were. It's another story. The family couldn't afford another fan, so they all just dealt with it. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.